Right. Let's move on to Andrew Yang. Full disclaimer to the audience before the Yang gang goes down my throat and Steve's. I've reached out, I think twice, not recently, but a couple months ago. I reached out twice to get Andrew Yang on Status Quo. So this is not, gratuitously attacking him or anything like that. I'd love to interview him. So invitations out there. I'm sure you would as well. So Yang, I think won head-to-head poll recently. I think it was in New Hampshire, actually. Had him beating Trump handily. He's been 3 or 4% in some national polls. He's been in every debate so far. He'll be in this one. So I think he's got a little bit, obviously not with the racism and that kind of stuff, but he's got a little bit of that outsider thing that Trump capitalized on in 2016, a little bit of that business thing. And on paper, I think what he's proposing sounds great. It sounds like, $12,000 a year on top of what you're already making if you work for a living, generally middle class or whatever's left of the middle class. So that could be a huge supplementary income on paper. But there seems to be a lot of strings attached to it that I think his supporters are a little naive about. I also think there's a separate issue from MMT, which is this defeatist attitude of automation is inevitable. We're all here's $1,000 a month because there's nothing we could do. Let's start with the first. What are people not seeing about Andrew Yang's UBI, which again, $12,000 a month, so $1,000 monthly, but it's that or social welfare programs. You can't get that and still be on food stamps and still get, SSI and still get a lot of these social welfare programs that the most vulnerable of our society depend on.
Yeah. So first things first, I am 1,000% against a UBI, and the most like out of every issue out there, I probably couldn't be more against a UBI. And it starts there. God, the list of things. And I hope folks actually take the time when I do what I'm about to do to fact check me. Don't just go, get religious on me and start screaming like you're a Christian in the audience at some, heathen, I'm telling you facts. All right. So the thing is that let's just say hypothetically, I give every person $1,000 a month, every person. Right. So the poor people get their $1,000 a month and they're going to be trying to buy bread. They're going to be trying to buy whatever. The middle class gets that and they're going to say, let me go ahead and pay off some debts. Maybe I save $200 a month after I pay off some debts. And then the rich take that money and they go ahead and invest it in something. And that wealth starts growing again because investor grade interest rates, they're making money once again on this money. So they're exacerbating the wealth gap once again, furthering and furthering and furthering the existing neoliberal paradigm. This is 1,000% a neoliberal program. There is no price anchor, none, zero. So if I give you $1,000 and I give Sally Sue $1,000, I give everybody $1,000 without a price anchor, without something to anchor that, all happens is that you build into an inflationary situation where now the cost of goods that the poor really needed, they really needed the goods and services. They didn't need the cash. They needed the goods and services. Well, you've already told them to eat their peas. Here's your $1,000 and they'll shut up and go away. Okay, this pittance, this is the new underclass that the tech billionaires are trying to push forward so that they can create a new society in their own image where they get all the benefits of automation and the rest of us get to eat our peas.
So to dumb it down, basically, if you suffocate all this money into the economy, there's more money in people's pockets, you're saying prices will go up.
It's not, so there's you want to keep it slowed down, dumbed down, whatever, but there is a slight difference here. It's really not about the amount of money in there. If we gave everybody $1 or if we gave everybody $10,000, it's really about relative buying power spread out amongst the people. So the real question becomes, can we produce the real goods and services that are required to meet the new demand that you have now expanded throughout the entire economy? And you can say automation, but there's no evidence that automation is going to suddenly take on enough to pay for to create the real goods and services that demand would be there. Look at something as simple as the Xbox. I use this example all the time. Right now, Xbox, let's say it's $500 per. And, people that got to have a little bit of cheddar to go out there and blow it on some luxury item like an Xbox. Well, what happens if everybody suddenly has $500 in their pocket that wants to buy an Xbox? Well, it's not making it more. It doesn't make it cost more. What happens is that now you've got 20 million people that want those 500 Xboxes, whereas before it was 400 wanted it or whatever. So now there's a black market that comes about. Now you've driven up the price based on the basic supply and demand that basic economics teaches us. So there's no production there to meet demand with a UBI. There's literally no production, and so when we look at Yang's proposals, what they're actually doing is, number one, and Yang has come right out and said, hey, we'll subsidize shit wages. What are you talking about? This is the anti-labor movement of all time. I mean, this has countered everything that you would ever dream of. The right has begged for this forever. They've wanted to slash away the social safety nets. They've wanted to get rid of any kind of government services. It's not just the money, it's the services. Because the government can always pay any price increase. You really want the food. You really want the medical care. You really want these things. You don't want $1,000 to go out there and forage in the market to find health care. You don't want $1,000 to forage around for things. Housing, it just starts steamrolling out of control. And this is not hyperbole. This is literally how this shit works. And so, people that are desperate, they see, oh, here's $1,000. They're like, oh my God, Andrew Yang, you're my God. Scott Santens, you're my God. Never mind, you're a snake oil salesman.
Well, okay. What do you say? Because I've seen comments under videos I've done critiquing Yang from people on disability who say, I've had to fight through bureaucracy and this and that, and I'm still not. Some of them have gotten benefits. Some of them still haven't gotten approved. And the ones that are approved, really, whatever their combination of benefits are for programs they're on, are less than $1,000 a month that they're getting. So on paper, they would be getting more from Yang, so they argue for Yang's programs.
Okay, so let's think about this. What is the real problem in your statement right there? We've already gone through this. Austerity in general, these programs are underfunded because we believe that the government's broke. You can't do nice things, so we got to cut spending, eat our peas like Obama said. I mean, it's pathetic. So when you underfund a program, you can make it look as shitty as you can make it look. You can make it look, the United States can bomb the world, but damn it can't figure out how to process unemployment. Come on, give me a fucking break. It's ridiculous. It's intentional. It's not an accident, okay? And the reality is that even if you gave them $1,000 and they said, oh, well, that's better pricing than the other, well, now everybody's got that $1,000. And the price of those things without a price anchor, you're thinking everything's just going to stay the same. Not a chance. Look at Walmart, for example. Right now today, Walmart already subsidizes shit wages with welfare. Okay, you got Bernie out there trying to push the Amazon, the Walmart plan basically to bust their chops if their people are on welfare because they're not paying a living wage. Ultimately, this is just a cash giveaway, and it's not. I don't care. Hey, man, if it would work, I'd be all for it, but it doesn't work. There's no tie to the real goods and services. You've been living under a bridge. You've been living in conditions. Here's $1,000, man. Make your life your own, brother. Really? I mean, it's so preposterous to think that would be the way it would be. Instead of fighting to fix the damn, systems, because all these systems, whether it be public or private, all of them have to function. You've got to fix the processes. You've got to fix the systems that support it. You've got to identify the real problems and not just keep bypassing and saying, here, take some Milton Friedman cash because all capitalism needs is a little bit more money to keep the stock market growing. That's what this comes down to. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And also, when you're talking about attacking the social safety net, well, if Yang's programs go into effect, for the people on the lowest rung, they might be choosing UBI, which chips away at those programs, but Yang's not going to be president forever. So those programs start getting chipped away at, to the point where, they're no longer needed because we have UBI. So the prices might be going up, like you were saying, under UBI, but these programs are going away more permanently.
That's right. There's no guarantee that you will have the real goods and services that you need based on $1,000. Now you're in a perpetual fight to keep increasing the UBI. Now it's like, oh my God, we got to raise more money because now the cost has gone up. Okay. And so at some point in time, this thing just keeps doing this because there's nothing to anchor it. Now, people don't have to get economics. They're going to probably eyes will glaze over, turn to sandpaper, be bored, go check out, play a video game, whatever it is they do when they hear things that they don't enjoy learning. But this is really where the rubber meets the road. All these programs, every single one of them, requires an understanding of how you're going to pay for it. Hillary made Bernie look like an idiot in the first round because she kept laughing at him, calling everything he said pie in the sky. How are you going to pay for it? Ha, 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 ha. All the other stuff. And we still, as progressives, have not gotten out of our own way to smack that neoliberal laugh down and win. And so Yang comes in here. Where is Andrew Yang's $1,000 a month coming from? I mean, think about this. He's going to sit there and say it's taxes and this, that, and the other. The reality is that this would be the government spending money into the economy, which on its face sounds good until you realize that there's no output to offset that. Mm-hmm. And so that's why MMT folks would support the job guarantee with a basic income being Social Security being expanded to handle different scenarios. It's just an amazing thing how they make these bold statements to the poor. It's like, God, I'll give you $1,000, man. And their eyes roll back in their head and they're like, bing, 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 this is it. And it to me, it's the greatest sin that they've ever done is playing a joke on the poor, basically, because this does not work. It doesn't work and it won't work. It can't work. It's status quo, not status quo.
And what I find interesting also is he keeps saying, because he's also not for raising a minimum wage, but he says the UBI of $1,000 a month ultimately is like a raise of, I think he said $5 or $6 an hour anyway. But then what are you really getting? Aren't you? If that's the case, you're just raising the minimum wage to $15 then.
Think about this for a minute. The job guarantee's goal, and this is a very distinct reason why I'm bringing this up. The job guarantee's goal is to set the wage floor. It's to buy up a public option to buy up all unused labor, slack labor in the economy. And as people get rolled onto the job guarantee because the economy is doing badly, people work in their local communities at a living wage with benefits, you name it. And then as the economy improves, they can make a choice. They can either get off of the job guarantee and go into a better paying job in the private sector, or they can stay there in their local community and do whatever it is that their community has chosen to fund through this program. Now, the thing that's nice about this is it literally sets the benchmark against labor. These companies can't hire you for shit wages like they can with the Yang Gang clan. Okay, the job guarantee eliminates the stronghold that capital has on our lives. It allows us to democratically choose what we want to do. It allows us to have some democratic control over the things we value versus just making profit for the man. I mean, think about all the things that have social benefit to it in our communities. I mean, mothers we could have a co-op for us to be able to have childcare in the local community. We could have co-ops do all kinds of stuff. We could do the list of things is only stopped by our imagination. But by making it a job, then they can't hire you at a shit wage and offset it with your UBI. And this right here lifts all ships, literally, ends generational poverty. Mm-hmm. And for those people that are disabled who can't work, don't want to work, whatever, we can expand Social Security. Because all it is a basic income called social. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it late for dinner. It's still just a basic income. The only difference is it's not it's not universal. And by doing it this way, the people that want to work, that want to serve their community, have an avenue to make a very good wage and be able to be a part of the community and have the benefits thereof. And nobody wants to hire an unemployed person. Okay. And so by allowing people to have a job, there's no distinction now. They get to go and choose what they want to do with their lives. The idea that you're going to suddenly have all these choices by sitting there with a UBI is repulsive and it's ridiculous. It doesn't hold up under scrutiny.
And also, I think there's because honestly, there's some of Bernie's 2016 voters that have kind of moved over to Yang. I also think there's a difference, not just putting aside the dollars and cents, in the philosophy. Here you have somebody basically say, just waving the white flag from the get-go, saying, There's nothing we could do. We got to talk reality. The corporate vultures have offshored our jobs, and it's just going to keep happening. And they're also going to add in robots, and they are adding in robots. So here's your check. Whereas Bernie's talking proactively, we could create 20 million jobs alone, wind, solar, retrofitting, all that. He's talking He's talking proactively about there's plenty of work to do in this country. That doesn't actually make more money for Walmart and the capitalist order. So to me, if I'm a progressive, which message is more appealing? That there's endless opportunity if we actually have a government that serves you, or just lay down on your couch. There's nothing we could do because automation, in my view, I mean, I've covered a lot of these Midwest states. It's only inevitable if corporations are allowed to do whatever they want.
Well, hold on. Let's think about that for a minute, right? Why in the world would we allow automation to be the horrible boogeyman? I mean, to me, the benefits of automation can be had by all. Instead of leaving it to the wealthy few, we can all enjoy a smaller work week. We can all enjoy working to better our community versus sitting there chasing after some rich guy's dollar. I mean, we have choices here. That's the point. We have real choices. And I want to bring something up that most people seem to forget in this silly debate. We got a bit of a climate crisis going on right now. And without having the ability to mobilize and provide a just transition for those people working in bad industries like coal and other fossil fuel industries, or even the insurance industry, if we want to go away from private insurance to a Medicare for all plan that provides a single payer. This is a great opportunity to provide what we call a just transition that gives a job to these people, that provides them with a transition away from these very, very bad industries, and allows us to address climate change head on. This is what is missed by these UBI guys. I mean, this is the ultimate libertarian. And folks, I am in no way, shape, or form down with the libertarian side. I came from that side. I know its ins and outs. I spit it out and I moved on to trying to be effective. And I found no value. There was things that were tantalizing, to say the least, about libertarian thinking. And most of it doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Most of it is almost like teen angst, and you get past it, and it's like a bad gas bubble, man. You let it out, stinks up the room for a few minutes, and you move on. And that's what libertarianism is to me at this point. It just doesn't hold up. Once again, we can't survive. We cannot survive the climate crisis with people thinking that the answer is a UBI. It's ridiculous. And that's ultimately why, when you see Bernie's Green New Deal, and you see AOC's Green New Deal framework, why the job guarantee was part and parcel with that approach. Because you're about to tell people that have worked their whole lives in a coal mine, we're about to end your job. Now, yes, we can move you over to clean energy solutions, but after a while, you just got to realize that some of these people are probably going to be job guarantee people that are going to need to slide over into these roles and serve their local communities. To me, it's a no-brainer. There is no Green New Deal with a UBI. That UBI thing is a libertarian fantasy that doesn't hold any water in a progressive's mind, not one that actually thinks through what it is we're fighting for anyway.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.